Hello everyone, Carlos Flores, back on basics. Today we're going to talk about self-doubt, which is something that we all have, and I'll go into a little bit more detail in a little bit. But before we begin, subscribe to my YouTube channel, back on basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that way you can get notified of any new videos that are come along. Hit the like button. Again, this is about self-doubt and everything that comes with it, and we'll talk about it in a little bit of detail on it. So if you like this topic, give it a thumbs up. uh, if you have anything that you want me to talk about, uh, please put it in the comment section, or connect with me on Facebook at Carlos Flores, or connect with me on Instagram at Back on Basics. And so, self-doubt. Self-doubt is something that we all have. And honestly, we have it either, uh, we actually have it most of the time. Let's just be honest. A lot of the times we tend to, remember I said this in the previous video, we tend to think of the negative first before crossing that plane and starting to think about either the neutral or the positive side of things. And so we as human beings, it's in our nature. For some reason we tend to go to the negative first, and a lot of the times where we don't have the mindset that pushes us through to go to the to go to the positive, or to be in the neutral. Being in the neutral is great. Remember, being in the neutral zone, that's where you optimize your decisions. So neutral zone is good. Being in the present, being in the here and now. Like right now, I'm in the here and now. And so I'm here with you and I'm sharing a video with you. I want to make sure that you get different takes on different aspects, on different subjects. And again, it's free, right? I love making these videos, and so that's one of the things that I can use as an example, because self-doubt comes from different places. Self-doubt is you being unsure of yourself, you not having the confidence to do things, to realize things, to plan things. And so self-doubt can creep up right away. It's something that gives you uh, a perspective that's skewed. And what I mean by skewed is sometimes it's not reality. It's something that you have come up in your head with some sort of reality. And that's something that you have to understand, right? Because as you get in your head, and again, and this is the importance of the mind body balance. I'm actually connecting. I'm putting together a puzzle for you, because there's a lot of things that can help you out to have the mind body balance. Remember, support system is very important, because if you don't have a support system, then it'll be harder for you to move on, right? For you to plan the things that you want to do, write your goals, and then stick to them. It's hard to do that sometimes. So again, your support system is important. Your village is very important, because those are the people that know you from the beginning. Those are the people that know you. It's like my friend Mauricio. I know that we haven't talked for years. He's been in my life since middle school. I know he lives in San Francisco. I live here, and so the thing is, as soon as we connect, I know that we'll be like the old times. A little bit older, but it's gonna be like the old times. And so again, right? You have to make sure that you are always checking yourself to see if there's any doubt about what you're doing, about what you're going to do, about what you're planning to do, because you don't want that to increase. Self-doubt just brings you down. Self-doubt just makes you think that you're not good enough to do things, and that's not true, because everybody can do what they set their mind to it. And again, there's a few things that have to come together, right? Being in the present is one of the things. Not in the past when you're regretting everything that you've done or you did not do. Not in the future because you're building a false picture or a false visual that is actually making your mind think, oh, okay, this is going to come true. This is real. So now I can coast. See, that's the thing. The mind, right? I think, in my opinion, the mind has so much to process throughout the day. There's so many memories. There's so many different aspects. There's so many different things. There's so many new things. There's so many old things. There's so many different things that you're processing throughout the day, every day. I mean, you're processing every nanosecond something, right? And isn't it amazing that sometimes you may smell a flower, you may smell like a food from your past, and boom, your memory. Then you have this memory of when you were little, when you were like, for me, whenever I smell pupusas or I smell some kind of like sweet like Mexican bakery, but it's also Salvadorian. I'm Salvadorian, so whenever I do that, I go back and and my memory, for some reason, my mind connects the neuronic uh, connectors, and it fires, and I'm like, oh, I didn't remember that until now. And again, isn't it interesting, right? And so what it does, it your mind is putting together a puzzle every day. Like me with these videos, putting together a puzzle. Your mind is actually putting together a puzzle every second, every nanosecond, every like, it's amazing, right? How this works. So we need to keep it sharp, and that's what I've been talking about. See, now that we have a number of videos under our belt, we're putting things together. We're putting the puzzle pieces together because it does take a lot of different things that you are checking on, that you're assessing, that you're in, that you're not there or you're not there. And so there's a lot of different things, and at the same time you're getting to know yourself, right? You're getting to know others, you're getting to know your higher power, you're getting to know your goals, and then you're getting to celebrate your goals. And so it's many different aspects. And what does that do? It actually builds your basic foundation. Your basic foundation is actually being strengthened by the things that you're doing to improve your mind body balance. Mind body balance, right? That's important. Mind body balance. I think that when something new, and sometimes something that hasn't worked out in the past, and again, this is going back, right? So whenever something comes in front of you, then you start you sh- when things connect in your brain, sometimes self-doubt comes up and says, well, we did that at this time years ago, or last week or last month, and it didn't work that well. And and I'm gonna be honest with you, I get to do that. And the thing is, a lot of the times, so here, I'm going to tell you this. A lot of the times, we don't realize that self-doubt has crept in. It feels like it's anxiety. It feels like it's depression. It feels like you're feeling down, but it's self-doubt. I'm not reducing, minimizing those things, because they do occur. And they do occur whenever you have self-doubt. But a lot of the times it's your perspective. It's the way that you're seeing things. And I'm a very I mean, I do that myself. We're all human beings, right? So what I do is I try to be in the present. And I'm trying to do that myself. As you're learning to do that, I'm polishing what I've been teaching you, and I'm practicing what I've been teaching you, because I want to be in the present moment. I don't want to be regretting the past. I don't want to feel stressed about the future or building a false future that I think is going to happen. I'm going to work on it here now, so that way it takes place, right? There's a difference of thinking about it and hoping that it will happen, or working on it step by step by step and making sure that it does happen. Will it be on your timeline? Maybe, if you work on it. Will it not be on your timeline? It could not be. But again, that's not a thing for you to be self-doubting yourself. Because if you're working in the present here, in the present, you'll be in the neutral zone. You'll be able to do that. And remember, I said it in a previous video. If for some reason you're being dragged back into the past because you regret some things that you didn't do, well, bring yourself into the future and assess and say, okay, I regret not doing this in the past. I regret not, for example, majoring in engineering. By the way, Cal Poly. That's where my son goes. I regret not being an engineer. Well, what you do is, because you're already in the past, right? Then bring yourself to the here and now. And actually, you can make a quick list. And I would recommend for you to do that, or just process it mentally and say, okay, realistically, at this age, at this point, with my life experiences that I've had, in this moment here in the neutral zone, do I really believe that I can become an engineer? And be honest with yourself. Be in the present moment and actually think about the facts. Think about the things that you're strong and that you're not strong at, and process that as well. I mean, like, for example, what I did when I changed my major was like, I'm good at math, but once you get into the higher math, calculus and all that, I'm not the best at that. And so I knew that I needed that component for me to be an engineer. And I had to have a conversation with myself and just remind myself and say, okay, maybe this isn't the thing that I want to do, because I don't want to. At some point I'll get stuck. And I did. When I went to UC Davis, I was taking calculus. I passed it. And actually, one time I didn't pass it. I mean, I passed it with a low grade, but I passed it. But still, it was hard. It was a lot of processing. It was a lot of learning. So, and a lot of the times, what we tend to do when we're looking for a job is think about the skills that we have here with us, within us, right? What things that you have learned, what things that you have not learned. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What sort of things are you going to be doing that will help you get ahead in this position? And so, and in the job. And so self-doubt, again, brings you back to the past. So my recommendation is for you to bring your assessment, and I won't call it self-doubt, because once you bring it into the present, it's not doubting, it's assessing. You're reviewing, you're making sure that you're accepting or rejecting what you're doing in the present, using everything in the here and now. It's the same thing with the future. If you think, for the longest time, if you think, okay, in 10 years, this is where I'm going to be, it's great to do those goals. But remember, you need to check them every 6 months, and you need to do the most 3 steps at a time, so that way you know how to adapt, right? Again, you have to assess, and you have to assess here and in the here and now, so that way you'll be able to, be true to yourself, and you'll be able to make the decision that you need to make. But again, listen to this. When you have those self-doubts, support system. There's a support system that will tell you how to do things, and they will tell you their take on how you're doing or where you're at. And if you're thinking about, let's go back to the example. If I'm thinking about being an engineer, then I would go to my support system, right? And say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And so they will see it from their perspective and give you their perspective on the topic. But at the same time, you should be in the neutral zone, in the present, assessing whether you actually really want to be an engineer. A lot of times we tend to go on a whim, and a lot of times people influence us to do the things that sometimes we don't want to do, but we do it anyways, right? For the betterment of things. And so you have to realize that as human beings, self-doubt is going to creep in. Self-doubt is going to rise. It's human nature. Remember, I've told you in another video that a lot of the times when we first have a thought about something, the negative thought comes and we have to move past that. Remember, if we assess it for at least 3 seconds, then now we're giving our brain a little bit of stoppage time so it can process, so it can look at different perspectives, not just the ones that we think that we have. Remember, always wait 3 seconds. 5 seconds is optimal. 3 seconds is pretty good. Let your brain just process a little bit and say, is this real or is this not? Is this something that will benefit me, or is this something that's going to hinder me moving forward? And so, again, self-doubt is going to creep up no matter what. Make sure that you give yourself a little bit of time to think about it and always assess it in the present time. So, again, it's a very interesting topic because nowadays that we're so distant based on technology, based on just the migration pattern that we have, because we have access to what? Planes, trains, and automobiles. Remember that movie? John Candy, hey, he just celebrated, and I mean, I know that he passed, but it was his birthday just recently. Happy birthday, John Candy. Planes, trains, and automobiles with Dan Aykroyd. See how that you saw that example? How the mind, right? Because I was talking about planes, and then I said trains, and then it clicked, and then automobile came in, and then my mind just went to John Candy, that he had that his birthday would have been this month, and then I went back to plane, trains, and automobiles, and then it actually clicked somewhere else, and I remember the Dan Aykroyd, and I believe Dan Aykroyd was one of the other ones that was in that movie. So the mind is amazing, but we have to keep it in the present moment, because if we're not keeping it in the present moment, we'll be making decisions that sometimes we may regret later on. So I wasn't planning on that example, but that was a perfect example of how quick the mind processes things, right? And brings things. The last time I saw planes, trains, and automobiles was actually in the 80s. I haven't seen it since, but it's in here. Why? Because I love John Candy. I like the way he was a very, very, very funny guy. And so many of his movies. But anyways, self-doubt, it always comes. Or most of the time comes. Let's say that. Be in the present moment, right? Be ready to ask your support system for help, so that way they can give you their take. If you're having self-doubt, put yourself in the here and now and say, okay, at this point, at this time, at 10:41 a.m., am I really thinking about this, or doing this, or about this in this way? And then, again, use your support system, use your village, be in the neutral zone, right? The decisions in real time. It's kind of like it's kind of like what Kobe Bryant said. I love Kobe. I mean, I'm not a Laker fan. Don't all of you Laker fans don't. I mean, it's not a bandwagon thing. But Kobe had these amazing things to say, and a lot of the times it's true. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with these videos, because he said, I'm going to prepare myself 2 to 3 times more than the person that's going to play against me. I want things to come automatic. I want things to come in the present. I want things to be processing here so that way I can be successful at what I do. And he was. And he was very successful, but his mindset was very, his mindset was very optimal. And that's the reason why he got to the place that he did. Because self-doubt, every time he had self-doubt, he was in a neutral zone. He was here. He was practicing. He was in the gym. He was having time with his family. He was doing everything that would balance him. Everything that would build a very solid foundation. And it was unfortunate that he passed and his daughter passed in a helicopter crash. But he left a legacy. I mean, for being such a young person. And so, again, that's a perfect example of somebody that I bet you self-doubt creeped up. And he said, no, this is not what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to focus on. So, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that way you can get notified of any new videos that are coming up. Hit the like button if you like this video. Self-doubt, nobody likes it, but we have to deal with it. So, if you have any topics that you want me to give you my take on, put it in the comment section. Connect with me on Facebook at Carlos Flores. Connect with me on Instagram at Back on Basics. Till next time, Back on Basics.